there, wrestling fans, and welcome to the internationally known Dudes at Ringside podcast. I am your host, Joe the Panther the Third, and now introducing for the top of Metal Mountain, all the way down to all 50 states and the globe, it's the happy heel himself, the Metal Geek.
What's going on, Ringside Crew? What's going on, internationally known? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, Joe? How's it going? We have
Not
a guest?
too much, man. Whew. Feel that chill?
Yeah.
Whew. You ready for the show, Geekin?
Yeah.
Because let's give a warm Dudes at Ringside welcome to Al Snow.
Hi, guys.
What's going on, dude?
Not
How's
too
it
much.
going?
Welcome, Al. Welcome to Dudes at Ringside podcast.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Thanks for accepting our invitation, dude. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys giving me the time.
No problem. We've had a lot of your students from OVW, like so many on this podcast so far. It's like,
Oh, have you really?
Yeah, AJZ.
AJZ. We've had Killjoy.
Yeah.
Who else? We've had quite a few.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
great.
We love showing love. We love showing love for the independent wrestling scene because, like, Geek is the one that got me really into the indies. He got me into the Ring of Honors, and ever since after that I was just like watching NYWC. Hey, what's going on? Watching in Long Island. There's
Well, thank you for being a fan.
oh, no problem.
Thank you, Stefan.
But
First and foremost, we want to thank you for what you did for that kid. So we just tell what was going through your head that day when you saved that kid on the beach.
Oh, look, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and I was able to help out in a very dire situation that turned out, thank God, turned out okay for both of us. It got a little dicey for a second, and I mean, I got to be honest. For a moment, I really did fear for my life. I thought for a moment when I grabbed him. Basically, we were in Destin, Florida, and my wife and I were supposed to leave that day, come back to OVW because we had TV that day, and we decided to stay down an extra day because on the day before, a tropical storm had blown through, and so the water at the beach was very rough, and the lifeguard had cordoned off an area on the beach. It was basically a no-go zone because there were rip currents, rip tides in that area, and the little boy was swimming, and he happened to go into that area, and the riptide caught a hold of him. And it was almost, the only way I can describe it is it was like as if a rope was tied to his foot and he just was being pulled out to sea. He was vainly trying to swim and was screaming for help. And, I saw the lifeguard on the beach. She wasn't really making a move. And he was going out further. And she was very small. She was, lucky if she was maybe 5 foot tall and maybe 100 pounds or something. And
Wow.
I knew that, if she tried to save him, it would probably take her as well. And there was another guy between me and the kid, and he wasn't moving. So I don't know, I just took off and I moved as fast as I could and covered as much distance as I possibly could. And he just kept going further out. And thank God I caught him at the last second by the wrist, because if I'd have missed him, that'd have been it. He was going to go into no man's land. He was going to go so far out that it would definitely, we both probably would have died if I'd have went further after him. And I caught him by the wrist and pulled him to me and told him to hold on. And just as I did, a big wave took us under. And I honestly flashed for a second. I just thought maybe this was the way I was going to go. Like Shad Gaspard had done last year.
yeah.
And his son. And, I could feel the current pulling me, and it was hard. It was really pulling, and I just dug my feet in as deep as I could and pushed as hard as I could, and came up at the surface and made my way forward against the current and as hard as I could, and I shoved him to the lifeguard. It had come out where it was shallower, and the rip current wasn't. And then I pushed him to her, and she took him, and I just cut at an angle and went back to the beach, and the adrenaline wore off, and I was exhausted. So
yeah, it's speak of that, man. It's scary because of what happened with Chad and everything, and sad.
Yeah. It was a terrible tragedy, and there was a moment that it crossed my mind as we were underwater. I just thought for a brief second that maybe this will be the way I go, but I'd do whatever I could to save the little boy. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Meme mania.
Yeah, that's one of our buddies from college. He would sit and watch wrestling with us like every Monday, and every Friday we would sit and watch Monday Night Raws. And in college, we all sit together and surround the TV and just watch you on TV and stuff like that.
Well, so, thank you. Thank God, because otherwise I wouldn't have a job.
Yeah. So start off with the question, Kiki.
All right. How did you know about the situation though?
I just was in the water already.
Yeah.
But further away. I was probably a good football field away, and he was. By the time I caught him, he was at least a football field away from the beach. It's hard to judge distance in those moments, but I heard him yelling for help, and I heard the mother spotted him, and she started yelling for help. I saw the lifeguard stand up but not move. She just kind of came down to the water but didn't come in, and I knew I had to go. So,
wow. I remember when right after we got you to come on our podcast, I saw that on TMZ, and I was like, my dad's like, oh, real name's Randy. They're like, Randy, isn't that the guy that's coming on your podcast? I was like, yes, Dad, that's Al Snow. He was like, wow. My dad's an ex-law enforcement officer in New York, and he was a 9/11 first responder. He's like, he's brave. He's very brave to do that for a kid. And I was like,
I don't know about that. I just,
you're a hero, dude.
No, I did what anybody else, should have and would have done. So, it's like I said, I'm just grateful that one, I was in the right place at the right time, and two, that it all worked out for both of us. It could have went very badly very quickly, but thankfully it came out all right. So
yeah. So I want to ask you, out of all the wrestlers that are all your wrestlers you're working with in OVW right now, who right now would you say would be like a star you would see going into like the any of the other groups? Like what's that? Mainstream. What person would you see going mainstream right now, like a tag team or a solo wrestler?
Hopefully all of them. I hate people ask me those questions, and it's very difficult for me, one, to try to remember the whole roster right off the top of my head. And two, I don't want to mention any one particular person, and then they hear it and they go, well, why did he mention me? And I may have meant to mention them, and I just slipped my mind. As far as I'm concerned, I'm trying everything I can to elevate everyone on the roster to be that mainstream star. And there's potential for each and every one of them, in different parts of the card. Everyone serves a purpose. And, I'm really hopeful that, as we continue to get our name out there and continue to get more exposure and more attention from the wrestling world, because for a very long time we operated under a cone of silence. We just were totally ignored by everyone within wrestling in regards to OVW. To be able to finally start to get a little bit of notoriety and a little bit of recognition for the talent is great, and I'm hoping that it will open up doors and increase opportunities for them to expand and grow and go further.
So I know this is kind of a similar question, but who's your favorite opponent you worked with in your career?
Again, that's a really hard question. I mean, I've been wrestling for this coming May will be 40 years, and so it's difficult to pick one or two people out of all the hundreds or thousands of different guys that I've worked with over the years. There were lots of guys that I really enjoyed having the opportunity to get in the ring and go with and work with and in different circumstances. And, so it's real tough to pull one out and go, oh, just this one guy, and again, I don't want to offend anybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings and go, hey, why didn't you say me, man? That's BS, man. So I gotta try to be political.
Yeah, one of my favorite matches of yours was actually the river match. Though I think it was a hardcore match. Mississippi River match, where you guys ended up in the Mississippi River. That was probably one of my favorite matches.
Yeah. Probably one of my smarter ideas, but it was in my defense, it was a lot warmer in the afternoon outside in the air than it was in that water at night. And it was February, and I didn't really put two and two together. And that water was a lot deeper and a lot faster than I could have ever imagined. So
I don't think I saw a Falls County where a match end up in a river before. So
yeah. Well, I don't think anybody's copied it since. So.
Nah. I'm surprised anytime they go to New York, they don't try to do that. But then, it's New York River. You don't want to toss somebody.
Mississippi River was disgusting, so I can only imagine what the New York River is like.
Yeah, God, you come up, have something on your neck. Fish. Fish is on me.
Yeah. Hey, Justin Del Rio. Hello there.
Yeah. We got plenty of people in here.
What would you say your favorite match is, Joe?
I would say all of his matches. Like when he won the hardcore title on Raw, any of his hardcore matches he's done on Raw. Like anytime he won the hardcore title, I think all your matches outsnore like legendary to me. Like as a teen watching you on Raw, like. So, do you have any stories from any of your matches that you want to talk about tonight?
I mean, there was, of course, in Montreal the one night when Bob Holly exposed me. Big Jim and the Twins made an appearance because the story behind that is that Bob and I were working quite frequently, and every time Bob would put me in a vertical suplex, he'd like to hold me up in the air, for an extended, really long time. So I'd get bored and I'd, start pointing at his crotch and doing this, or I'd act like I was doing other things, while I was upside down. And people every night would be laughing. He didn't understand why they would be laughing because I never told him. He never knew what I was doing, and Mick Foley smartened him up, stooged me off, and knew that I didn't wear undertrunks under my tights. A lot of guys didn't. And I had the singlet, and, I saw him and Bob over there talking, and we were in a four corners tag match. It was the Hollies, the Dudleys, I think it might've been Edge and Christian. I'm not sure. And me and Mick, and Bob, finally got in the ring with me. I kept trying to avoid being in the ring with him, and he got me and, snatched me upside down and then just pulled them open and let everybody. And in my defense, it was winter and it was an ice arena and it was very cold. So, yeah. And then at a time in Louisville, Kentucky, at a SmackDown taping, Hunter went to suplex me and the Dick Mango Trio made another public appearance. So,
oh no.
Yeah. So I was in Kuwait, and Marty and the Bushwhackers, we were all sitting on a beach outside the hotel on the Gulf, Persian Gulf. And an American lady came over with her kids to take pictures with all of us. And as I scooted back, my shorts scooted up. And of course, the next day I get a letter under the door saying that she took photos and all was not quite right. and that she would destroy the pictures. I was like, well, thank you very much. So,
oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
What was it?
No,
Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Go. No, I was finishing my sentence.
All right. I was going to ask, what was it like working with Steve Blackman?
Oh, he's a great guy. He's really a wonderful person. You know, he's a very serious, very no nonsense kind of guy. But if he likes you, he'd do anything for you. Hell, he'd kill for you, which is the truth. Yeah. So, but he's an awesome individual and really down to earth, great guy. And we had so much fun, doing that head cheese run with all the little vignettes and stuff backstage. We were almost like a TV show within a TV show every night.
Yeah. So another question is like, how was it working with Perry Saturn? Was he a good guy to work with and stuff like that?
Perry was a very, decent guy. I mean, I never had any trouble with Perry at all. I always enjoyed working with him, and, we'd joke around while we were in the ring. Nobody would know what we were doing, and we'd, pull little pranks on each other and things like that. So, it made it a lot of fun.
Geek.
All right. You already asked the stories already, right? So I was gonna say the Kendall from Hell match. Do you have any stories from that, or?
Just that, when I was approached, I've told this before, but when I was approached with the idea, I insisted that we use highly trained animals from the very beginning. And throughout the build to the actual match, I continued to assert that we needed to have highly trained animals from the same kennel, directed by, voice commands inside the cage. And I was assured that was what was going to happen. And, they gave me Pepper, and that was a little Chihuahua that they had contacted a veterinarian clinic and got a list of owners that had Chihuahuas. And, that's how I got Pepper. So the Chihuahua wasn't trained. And then when we got to Charlotte, North Carolina, I walked in the building and there was probably 10 or 11 different dogs, and they all had 10 or 11 different owners. And what had happened is they'd waited till the day of the show and decided to call a veterinarian clinic to get a list of owners that had Rottweilers. And, one of them had some obedience training. So, you built the entire crux of the story around these dogs, and then you couldn't film them or use them in any manner in the match because they were urinating, defecating, and fornicating to where you could show them on camera. So it was kind of a tits up situation the whole way through.
Yeah, I would see that on YouTube. I would remember watching that match going, why are they not showing the dogs?
That was why, and the owners had them on leashes inside. It took away, you built the entire crux of the story around the fact that there were going to be these vicious dogs, and they weren't at all. So, it just didn't work. So.
Do you have any stories? Funny stories?
Actually, we have a question. Not sure if you want to know about Tough Enough. Actually,
I'm very proud to be a part of Tough Enough. I think it's one of the greatest things I got to do with WWE. It was a fantastic opportunity, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I met amazing people, and got to be even more notoriety and more awareness around the world with an audience that didn't even watch wrestling. So, it was fantastic. It was such a positive, wonderful thing that, if I was asked, I'd go back and do it in a heartbeat.
I was about to ask that.
You're part of the first one, and now you're training students in OVW, which is awesome. So,
sure, I've been training, wrestlers since 1990.
Wow.
I've got a lot of wrestlers that are my kids that are my responsibility, that I've started their careers, and they've went on and had great success. So very proud of them.
Yeah, Killjoy told us that you're gonna, because when we had her on, we told her we're gonna have you, and she was like, "Oh, you're gonna love him." He's cool. He's a nice guy. He's really nice. He's really sweet.
And I think it was AJ Z said that to us too.
AJZ told us to tell you. He said hi.
Yeah, he said he goes up to us and says, he's like, Al's gonna love you guys, you know. So
you have two people that you know that loved us. And we're also having Killjoy's tag team partner, the Queen of Kentucky, this Sunday at 2 p.m.
Oh, well, that's great.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah,
well, that's great.
It's funny because she gave us all her promotional pictures and then she posted the new one, and I told her, now you got to send us that one because it doesn't make any sense to have.
Sure. Yeah.
She started laughing. She's like, I will. Do you have any funny stories from the road?
Well, I have tons of them. I don't know if I could necessarily tell them all because, they'll probably implicate people and things. And
you could tell the subtle ones that haven't involved.
I have to try to remember. I mean, traveling with Marty Jannetty was like, every morning was like waking up with like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom because he had the room booby trapped all the time, and he had, was always playing practical jokes constantly, no matter what, no matter where he went. You always had to be on guard because that's just how his brain worked. Owen Hart was the same way. A noted ribber that doesn't get credit for it, Steve Kearns. Steve Kearns a big time ribber, and so is Kurt Hennig. Kurt Hennig was a notorious one as well, playing practical jokes all the time. So but Marty was definitely one of a kind. When WWE had ICO Pro, WWF had ICO Pro with the bodybuilding company, and they gave all the wrestlers supplements. They gave Marty had a bunch of amino tablets, and they were he'd had them in his garage for years, and they were kind of brown on the edges, and so he started taking them, and it gave him horrendous gas, just terrible. And we were at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, and it was the old Alamo Dome, and there was a little small closet like of a room where the agents would meet and go over finishes, and Marty called me over and had a big smile on his face. He goes, "Just wait here," and he ran in the room, and then he came walking out laughing and walked off and just said, "Stand here." And I didn't move. And all of a sudden the agents burst out of the door, yelling, and Marty, oh my God. He had went in and fumigated the room.
He
crop dusted everybody and left. He shut the door behind him.
Sounds like something I would have done to Geek in college.
Joe's done some mean things to me before in college, so
Martin walked out of the room and just like, what's wrong? What happened?
Yeah. So that was definitely that was Marty.
Wow, that's crazy.
Justin says, what are your thoughts on the vast majority of wrestling promotions out there? As we know, it's so much, and to a wrestling fan and even a wrestler, it could be very overwhelming.
Well, it could be, but I mean, it's there've always been large numbers of wrestling promotions. Back in the day, they were just regional. They just, you didn't have as much access to them as you do now. But that's a good thing because it gives you, the fan, choice. You can pick and choose what promotion operation you like more than the other, and the one that you're then really find personalities, personas that you are invested in and enjoy watching. I mean, I think that's a very big positive for the wrestling fans out there.
And Craig Ladorski goes, Al Snow's a true legend. So.
I'm only a legend because I'm old.
No, and a future Hall of Famer. So
I don't know about that.
I think we're going to get into the Hall of Fame. I think you are.
I don't think so. That'd be nice. It'd be very flattering, but don't think it'll be happening.
Speaking of that, what was it like working with Vince? So,
Vince is, he's the boss. You know what I mean? I mean, and as such, Vince is responsible for everything and everyone there, and as such, he's got the say, and you may not always agree with it, but he's the one who's responsible, and the amount of responsibility is commensurate with the amount of authority that someone has, and he's got all the responsibility, so as a result he has all the authority. Simple as that. And he is making decisions, not just what's best based on for you or for himself, but what's best based on for everyone, because he has a responsibility to every single wrestler, every single employee there that are making that are relying on WWE to make a living, feed their families. He has a responsibility to stockholders, now. That's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of responsibility for him to carry. And he's going to sometimes crack under that responsibility and have pressure and stress, and he's going to act out. And, but you have to respect him, because he never has asked anyone that I know of to do something that he would not do himself.
Yeah. Like, you got to be like that when you're the boss. You just can't just sit there and be like, I'm going to make you do this and this and this. But I wouldn't do it, but well, I want you to do it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So was there any wrestler that you didn't get a chance to wrestle from the Attitude Era that you wanted to wrestle? And who would have been?
I would have loved to have gotten to wrestle Kurt Angle. That would have been a blast.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that would have been an awesome match, by the way.
I really think it would have been fun to do and fun to watch, and I would have really enjoyed that. Would have been a lot of fun.
Okay.
Are you into any other sport?
When I was younger, I was into martial arts and things like that. I got heavily into hockey as a fan. Loved hockey. I haven't gotten to watch much of it in recent years, but I had a huge hockey sweater collection. I had about 375 hockey sweaters, actual game worn ones and stuff. And it was, I loved going to the minor league games and watching, all the ECHL teams play, and it was a lot of fun. I was a big hockey fan.
There's up my neck to the woods where I live in Pennsylvania. There's the Penguins. I think it's the Penguins minor league affiliate in Scranton.
Wilkes-Barre Penguins.
Yeah, that arena is nice. Nice little small arena, but it's
Rochester, and you have the Royals there too, the Reading Royals.
Yeah.
Who would you say your favorite hockey team is? Sorry.
Favorite hockey team? It was Detroit, the Red Wings for a while, but they were kind of like the Yankees of hockey. I mean, they had so much talent, and then they'd get into the finals and they'd always choke. You know what I mean? So, I kind of switched allegiances, and I started going with the Dallas Stars for a while. And, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the law in Ohio is that any major league team, football, basketball, baseball, they got to suck for, decades. And then all of a sudden do really have a hot run and get great. And it's like national news. And then they got to go back to sucking again. So.
Okay, I have an interesting question for you, Al. If you could bring back the Job Squad and you get a chance to put anybody from OVW on that stable with you, who would you choose and why?
I'd probably put Dimes. He's such a great personality, and is so entertaining and so much fun to watch. So probably him. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I would ask, what's your favorite movie you enjoy?
Favorite movie? I love watching, of course, comic book movies, all of those. Always have. Big comic book fan. My favorite Christmas movie is A Christmas Story. I think it's the most perfect movie out there. And Christmas Vacation's hilarious too.
Yeah, that's my girlfriend's favorite movie, by the way. She recites all the lines from every year. It's Hysterical.
Every year I watch 24 Hours of Christmas Story. I put it on TBS and I'll turn it.
That's what her family does too.
Yeah, my next question is a nerd question. Out of all the Spider-Man movies that have come out, which one was your favorite?
They were all really good. They were all very exceptional. I think I really the most recent one, the cartoon one, the animated one, with Miles Morales, and
that was good.
That was actually good.
Really enjoyed that. That was really a good one. And this one coming up, Long Way Home or whatever it's called. No Way Home. That one looks incredible. Looks really good.
Yeah, that last trailer was
the Spider-Verse. Yeah, it's funny. My dad, he kind of goes back and forth with like comic book movies, and I watched it with him on Netflix, and he was like, "You know what? That was a good movie." Yeah. I really don't do cartoon stuff, but I liked it.
Well, they're doing, Marvel's doing a really great job at
amazing
doing. Not only are they great comic book movies, but they're great movies, and like the second Captain America, that was Winter Soldier. That was just a good movie. Not just was it a good superhero movie, but it was just a good action movie. Really well done.
Yeah, that one, and I enjoyed Justice League, the new one that just came out.
I like the Snyder one. I enjoyed the first one. It was okay, but there were a lot of holes, and the one that I really did not enjoy, which was a big disappointment, was Batman versus Superman.
Oh yeah, that was a big.
So many holes in that it was just so many leaps of logic and the story that you just couldn't really enjoy it.
Yeah, that was a big bummer to me because I saw it and I was just like
very disappointing.
Yeah, I could have waited. I could have waited to waited for Netflix or Hulu.
Ben Affleck did not make a good Batman at all. I'm sorry. He's a good actor, but he did not play a good Batman.
I didn't like the trying to make jokes as Batman because Batman doesn't make jokes. He's very, very ultra serious and over planning and paranoid and obsessive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
very dark.
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead, Joe.
I'm trying to think what else. Did you I'm a big Ghostbusters fan. Did you see Ghostbusters Afterlife yet?
No, I have not yet. It looks good. The trailer looks good.
Awesome. I saw with my dad, and my dad looked at me, and he was just like, at the end of the movie, lights are coming on. He was like, I'm blown away. I really like that movie.
Yeah. The second one was fun, but a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah.
The one with
this one is really just see it and know that Jason Reitman wrote a love letter to the fans.
Oh, good.
And fond tribute to Harold. That's all I'm going to say. It's a very nice tribute to Harold Ramis. He would be proud.
Good.
All right. Here's a question. Favorite tag team growing up and favorite tag team now?
Favorite tag team growing up? Boy, the Fabulous Ones, probably Steve Kerr and Stan Lane. Loved watching those guys and then got to work with them. They were awesome. And favorite tag team now? It's hard to say. I don't really get an opportunity to watch much other wrestling because I'm so involved with OVW that unfortunately just, I don't have much of a chance or a time to catch other shows. It's crazy. Well, you'd think I would because it's, that's what the business I'm in, but I just don't really have much time to do it.
So what's your opinion on intergender wrestling, you'd say? Because I think the future is there's going to be no men's and there's going to be no women's title. I think eventually women are going to go for the men's title and it's just going to be one title.
Look, that's a loaded question because of opinion. So I'm going to base it off of just what the general consensus of society, okay, and if in reality, all right, if you always have to ask yourself if professional wrestling was real. If it were real, okay, the circumstance inside that ring is that you're standing across the ring from, and you're a highly trained combat athlete in basically catch wrestling, the equivalent of like MMA, okay? Actually, professional wrestling was like a precursor to MMA. You have a 240-pound man standing across from you in the ring. You're a guy, and you're your size right now. I don't know how much you weigh or how tall you are. But let's say it's a 6'3", 245-pound man, highly trained. And when that bell rings, then he can come across that ring and basically do anything to you that would essentially get him arrested for felonious assault. Mm-hmm. And you can't stop him unless you quit or the referee stops him because you've gotten to the ropes to make him break. He's intent on making you give up, and he is going to try to do everything he can to do that as quickly as possible, either wearing you down to pin you or make you snap a joint or a bone. And you can't call the police. You can't sue him. You can't take any recourse because it was your choice to get in there. How quickly are you going to just go across the ring and do that at the weight that you are?
Yeah.
Exactly. None.
Okay. If you're a 140-pound woman or 160 and you have a 240-pound man who's highly trained and is doing the exact same thing, how likely would that woman just rush across the ring to? And will you ever see intergender MMA?
Yeah,
No, you won't.
No.
Why not? Because it's unacceptable. It's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm saying that's a generality. It's not the rule, okay? You know, there are always exceptions to a rule. That's a generality. So in the world of professional wrestling, the objective is not to sell you what they do, which is what they all do nowadays. It's to sell you who they are and why they are doing it, the intent behind it. Because the only thing that's not real, quite honestly, in professional wrestling is the outcome. And you desperately want to believe that outcome is real. Mm-hmm. How likely are you to believe that a 140-pound woman is going to be able to survive, let alone beat a 240-pound man who's clearly heavier, stronger, and is going to be trying to cripple her while he's in that ring?
There's a lot of women wrestlers on the indies that I do know that could beat a guy in a match.
Possibly. You know, I'm not saying there's not. I'm sure there might be. But it still comes down to, it's a very, you know, physically, it's a very lopsided, unfair fight.
Gotcha.
You know, and I'm not taking that on any. Listen, women are without a doubt are not the weaker sex. I mean, they are without a question or a doubt. They're far tougher than men in a lot of ways. You know, but let's just face, you know, in reality, men do have certain advantages in weight, strength, etc., leverage, you know, and as such, you know, if they, again, how much do you weigh? You know, Joe, how much do you weigh?
I am light, so I'm about like 140 pounds.
All right. And I'm standing across the ring from you at 245. How quick are you going to bring when that bell rings? Or are you just going to come racing across there and lock up with me?
I probably would take my time because I'm more of like a small cruiserweight. So like cruiserweight, like grapple, I'd probably try to take my time and size you up. So
if it were real, and you would risk potentially me injuring you for real, putting you in an incredible amount of pain.
Yeah.
How likely are you to just race across the ring?
Yeah, I take my time because I'm short.
You would be very cautious, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd be cautious. I'd be very.
So you're a man.
Yeah.
How about a 140-pound woman?
Yeah.
You guys understand?
Yeah.
And the general population, Mr. and Mrs. Walmart, what does Mr. and Mrs. Walmart think?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, do you think there's going to be a possibility that you're going to have where women are competing with men for a heavyweight title?
No.
No. Yeah.
Let's use common sense, guys.
Yeah. I believe that 100%, Alan. Like, just like there's some women that think they could do it, but then when they get in the match against a bigger competitor, then they start going.
And that has nothing to do with gender. I mean, let's take, again, you take a guy who's 5'8" and 160 pounds against a guy that's 6'3" and 245 or 250. Who has the edge physically in that match?
Bigger
the 6'3", 250-pound guy.
The bigger dude.
He's bigger. He's heavier. That's why they have in real amateur wrestling, they have weight classes because it's unfair for a 140-pound man to go up against a 250 or 260-pound man, because the 250, 260-pound man has an advantage where he can just lay on the guy if nothing else, and the guy can't get up. That's the reality of it.
Yeah. We got a question from the audience. Mimo Mania.
Oh wait, never mind. What steps do you take to get new talent in OVW?
We're always on the lookout. We're always searching for new potential talent, and to build a roster. And we have them submit a request. If they're interested in coming to OVW. And we take a look at them, and if they, submit, videos of their matches and, and a brief history of their experience. The three things I look for are, one, coachability, and whether or not they were willing to learn and be taught and directed. And two is a good attitude, because I don't need cancers in the locker room, with bad attitudes, stirring up resentment or anything. And three is to physically look the part, to look like you make your living, and you don't have to look like a bodybuilder. I just need you to look like you make your living in a competitive combat situation. Simple as that. That where an audience, when you walk through the curtain, believe that you could potentially whip somebody's ass for a living.
Yeah. There's quite a few.
We live in a very, it's a very aesthetic, cosmetic business, and that's a portion of it. You know what I mean? That's like if you go watch Wolverine, and he's not ripped and doesn't look muscular. If you go watch Henry Cavill as Superman and he's not built like Superman, it's hard to believe that he's Superman.
Yeah, you're right. 100%. You're right. Like we've had quite a few wrestlers on our podcast. We've had I don't know if you ever heard of Billy Stark.
I'm sorry, I haven't. No.
She's starting to get up there in her name in like Tennessee and stuff like that. She's a younger wrestler, but she's really popular on the scene. You should definitely check her out. She's really good.
Great.
Karen Bam Bam is another wrestler from the East Coast. She's big to everybody know. They're starting to really know about her name. Mother Endless. She's like Ergo. If they put the DNA from Undertaker and Kane and they put it in a petri dish, Mother Endless would have come out.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I'm always, always on the lookout and always willing to give people an opportunity, and that's really what it is an opportunity. We've got a really wonderful platform now. We've got a lot of regional exposure here in the state of Kentucky. And we've got a lot of national exposure. We're in over 100 million homes nationally, and and then we're with Sky Sports and Sports International. We're all over the world. So, and then we have our own Roku and Amazon Fire and Amazon Prime, and and we're on Fight TV every Thursday live from 7 to 9. So we literally they have 6 million subscribers on that alone. So
you have Roku? You're on Roku? So if I look up OVW, you're going to pop up?
Should be. Yeah.
Cool. Remind that tomorrow when my mom and dad are making Thanksgiving dinner, I'll pop on OVW so I can watch it over here in PA.
Right.
Our friend Mania asked, what got you into wrestling?
I was 14 and made the decision that was what I wanted to do, and I began pursuing it from that point forward, and I never stopped.
Awesome. We had somebody from promotion from Pittsburgh ask a question on
any interest in PWX in the Pittsburgh area. I'm a worker there, and I've heard rumblings.
We've been in talks, and definitely trying to work out something where we can have a mutually beneficial relationship.
That's cool.
Joe,
if you could come back and wrestle any of the guys now, which wrestler would you want to wrestle?
Yeah, I don't really know. It's hard for me to keep up with. Maybe Cody, because I trained and broke Cody in, so probably Cody Rhodes.
Cody would be awesome. So
or Sean Spears, another one of my kids.
Cool. Got anything else, Geek? We got another one. Oh no, he was just answering the question, the message. I'm looking at the chat. I'm trying to. Do you play video games, Al?
I try not to. I have a bit of an obsessive personality, and if I find a video game that I really like, I'll sit and not sleep or eat or go to the bathroom for hours, and I'll just keep playing.
The game that I was obsessed with when it came out was the Ghostbusters, the video game, the revamp, It has everybody in it. Bill Murray is in it. Dan Aykroyd's in it. Late great Harold Ramis is on it. The guy that played Winston in it. They came out in 2009, but they revamped it and brought it back.
Yeah.
It has everything. It could have been the third movie. It was a video game, but it was like a third movie in a video game.
Video games are incredible. When I was a kid, we had Pong, and then from that to the Atari and ColecoVision and Nintendo and it just kept going from there. It was amazing. It's amazing what it's become. It's just absolutely amazing.
How was it working with Jim Cornett?
I love Jim Cornett. He's a great guy. He's very passionate, and he can be a handful. Because of that passion. He's a really driven person, and he loves the wrestling business, and tries to protect it protect it to his death. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Do you like music, Al, or
of course, yeah. I have a very eclectic taste of music. I always put music on when I'm cooking and in the kitchen, and I listen from James Brown to Patsy Cline to Parliament to Jimmy Buffett to Nat King Cole to Frank Sinatra to Dean Martin to Glenn Miller. I listen to it all.
You said the kitchen, so we love talking about food on here on Dudes at Ringside as well. What would you be your go-to food to be like?
I'm making right now bacon cheeseburger tater tot casserole.
Ooh, sounds good.
So good.
I'll have to hop off here in a minute so I don't burn it.
That's fine.
That's cool. We understand. You gotta send this. You gotta eat. If you mind, would you mind emailing me that recipe at the end of the show?
I'll see if I can send it over to you.
Yeah.
Because my mom's a cook, and I know my mom would try that.
Sure. Yeah. I make it every year for Thanksgiving. My kids love it, so I always make it.
So what would be on Al Snow's Thanksgiving table? You'd say?
Well, definitely turkey. Of course,
definitely
bacon cheeseburger tater tot casserole. We're gonna, and I'm a big dessert guy, so any type of cheesecake I love. I love Boston cream pies. I always bring desserts every year, so brownies. I bring everything. I eat way too much of it every single time. Way too much.
Yeah. Yeah, on my girlfriend's table, we have something called string bean casserole. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
That stuff's good.
Yeah. I'm not a big vegetable guy. You know, I don't like to eat what my food eats. So, you know, I try to save that for to help the world's food supply.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Last question, before our mods head explode, do you have any pets?
Do I have any what?
Pets.
Pets.
I have 2 cats. Now, I want to make it clear, I've had lots of cats, but I've never once went and got a cat. They are always foisted on me by other people. My wife had a cat, and then my son convinced her that we should keep a cat for him, and since he was moving. And then when he moved, he would get the cat. And I was like, once that cat comes in this house, it's never leaving. And it's been here ever since. My daughter is like the Johnny Appleseed of cats. Wherever she goes, she leaves cats behind. And as a result, I've had multiple cats over the years because people just keep bringing them and they don't go away. You know, they always find a way back home. So I've had dogs. You know, I had 2 adopted former racing greyhounds. They were beautiful and wonderful animals. I can't say enough good things about them. And had a combination Jack Russell and Beagle, a Jacoby, and she was a wonderful, wonderful dog. Just really terrific. So, you know, I dig dogs. I mean, I like animals. I love animals, and you know. My wife had snakes before we got together, and notice I said before we got together, because if she still had snakes, something's going to have to change. So
yeah.
And
I'm not digging snakes.
One last question I was going to ask is this is the final one. What was it like working with Mick Foley? Because another legend right there.
You know, we have a great chemistry on screen, and it really works. And you know, don't know why, but it does. But, you know, and then he seems like he's obsessed with me to the point where it's almost like a sexual proclivity. Very weird. Very weird. You know, Mick, you know, for years, you know, in the wrestling locker room would be telling everybody, hey, when I get done wrestling, I'm going to be a stand-up comic, and everybody'd laugh. And now he's a stand-up comic and nobody's laughing. So.
Oh, gee. Oh, man. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for coming on our podcast, Al. We know you have to get away and get your stuff out of the oven. So
I gotta get it out of the oven.
Yeah, we want to thank you so much the day before Thanksgiving for coming on our podcast.
Thank you. I apologize. I missed the original date. You know, I memory-wise, I'm not the best. And then another thing come up, an emergency thing came up, and I had to go do that. And then one thing led to another. But I'm glad that I was able to make it back up again. So.
Please tell your roster, tell your people in your roster OVW about us. Tell them that if you're ever looking for an interview, hit us up on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. We'd be happy to have them on because we love helping indie wrestlers and we love getting names out there that people we're known all over the world. So like people in Japan or like England be able to know about your roster, but no.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. I will definitely recommend them to get in contact with you. Okay?
Yeah. And if me and Joe are ever in Kentucky, we'll come down to OVW. You know?
I'd love to have you as our guest. That'd be terrific.
That's awesome. All right. Thank you so much again, Al. You have no idea how much this means to me and Joe. You know?
Thank you guys for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, Al.
Take care.
Later. Later. That was a fun interview.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
It was so awesome. Yeah. So everybody, you get to go through the fun part.
The spiel.
The spiel.
Remember, if you want to, but you don't have to, you could always donate to us at http://streamlabs.com/dudes@ringside. http://streamlabs.com/dudes@ringside.
We will see you this Sunday. By the way, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. See you Sunday.